Alright, folks, I'm going to just talk about a little bit of a hint on working on the towers. There's a number of ways you can do the towers. You can do them as, different classes. You can do them as superclass, subclass, or you can do it as a single class and use some sort of if statements and a variable to keep track of, what type of tower it is and respond accordingly. So in the tower, I chose to do the if statement system. There's no necessarily good reason for that. Mostly we're just going to see a variety of ways of doing it. And you can choose the ones that you think are best for you. There are legitimate reasons why the superclass subclass one is the technically superior version of any of these, but I want you to kind of explore these topics in your own way to start with, and then in the future we might dive into the superclass subclass explicitly, like choosing that. If you feel comfortable jumping in that for any of these, please go ahead. And I'm going to show a bit about how to do that with the mobs video, so if you're interested, stay tuned for that. But I think it's great to use the if statement system because that's using your knowledge you already know a lot about. It's really just building a mode framework inside of your towers. There's going to be a tower mode. I think actually it's not mode, tower type. That's a different variable. So tower type is going to kind of determine it. So just kind of guide you through a little bit. I have my constructor, and it takes now a type. It's just going to take a type as a parameter. And actually, I decided to get rid of the X and the Y because when you build your tower, it's already in placing mode. So that means it's following the mouse. So we don't really need to tell it the X and Y to go to anymore. So I've just replaced that with type. And that tower type I record as an instance variable, really important. Otherwise, all your towers will be the same type. So this way, each individual tower can figure it out. And this is the kind of code you're going to have throughout your project. I have these, the gun, the AoE, and the sniper. These are constants I've declared. They're right here. They're just 0, 1, and 2. Instead of using the numbers 0, 1, and 2, I just gave them names that have, that are words, just to make that easier for me to work with, right? This is just, it's clear what is happening here. So, my constructor is differentiated. In other words, it changes depending on what tower type I've tried to build. So, the threshold in this case is different from, gun and AoE towers from the sniper tower. So that's basically how you differentiate everything. Your act function, your show function, can all have sort of if statements to break it down. And I don't think I'm giving away too much because you've already seen the placing mode. I actually cleaned mine up a little bit. But here's my show function. I'm just if it's tower type equals gun, I have another function that's show the gun tower. Is basically what the show function was for a gun tower. It's hey, I'll show it to you. There it is. Because this is the code that used to be in the show function, right? And then I have one for show AoE tower, and that's just another function with different settings for these whatever it is that I wanted to do for the circle and stuff. So that's how basically the whole class is now just differentiated with if statements around this tower type variable. So that's not much different than the mode framework, and it's quite satisfactory in terms of its producing a different range of towers for us to experiment with. Okay, so there it is. Try making out your 3 different towers, the sniper tower, the AoE tower, and you've already made the gun tower. Okay, thanks everybody. Good luck with that.